guys. That's right. Fanboy Junction is back. This is season 3 or version 3, whatever you want to call it. And we've kind of decided to change up the format of the show, mainly because, for those of you who have not been following the podcast, the previous version was us just starting with Superman 1978 and going through and watching all of the comic book movies and talking about them. Unfortunately, there is a lot of suck within that time frame, and it just got very tiresome to sit there and watch these horribly bad movies. And I'm not talking about outdated, I'm just talking about horrible films. So, to kind of get away from that, decided to change the show. So now what we have is I invite a guest on, they come talk to me, we talk about their fandom, and they pick a favorite movie. And then we discuss that favorite movie and in a way of like why they love it, what their favorite parts are about it. And then the big turnaround, the big kind of hook that surprises everybody after they've picked their film is that I make them reboot it. That's right. Where the movie's 5 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old, whatever the film is, they have to recast it, pick a new director, and we discuss our lists. I do it, they do it, and we have a discussion about that. And at the end, we kind of have some rapid fire questions. Anyway, the first episode is today, and it is with Ryan Johnson. He was one of our guest hosts in the previous version, and he picked Batman Begins. Kind of. See, we kind of mildly discuss it during the episode. But what had happened is we, quote unquote, recorded a previous version of his show or a previous pick because Batman Begins had already been chosen. And he was going to do Transformers the movie. And I was an idiot and only hit record on one of the devices and not both. So we went through the entire episode. And when I went to stop it, I realized I had recorded nothing. And to make up for that, and finding out through the conversation that Batman Begins was actually the movie he wanted to do, we decided to go. He was a really good sport. Re-record his episode, do it in the following week, and we did this episode that you're about to listen to. So, thank you for coming. Thank you for having a lot of fun. Listen to the episode. Let us know what you think. And without further ado, here is Ryan and I's discussion about Batman Begins. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, Matt, man?
Man, nothing. Nothing but doing this podcast with you, having some fun, maybe. We'll see what happens. But recorded this time, not like, my only me angle, and then...
Nothing at all, yeah. Yeah, you just hate me for some reason. I don't know why.
I mean... It's definitely not racist, because otherwise you wouldn't be here.
We make it work. We make it work.
Can we make
We're living the American dream.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, so today we're talking about Batman Begins. Now, from previous conversations that were not recorded and from previous stuff that that we've done, and because you've been on the podcast before, is that we're just going to take away that Batman is your favorite character, correct?
Yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely. And he's your gateway kind of into this whole fandom thing.
Yeah.
And because of that, Batman Begins is the movie we're going to talk about today with you, correct?
Yeah, all the way.
Man, look how easy this is. When you know the person, it's so much easier. Now, did you start... You started with the animated series. Did you start with comic books? Did you start with the movies? What kind of began that thing?
It started off with Batman, the animated series. During that time, after my school activities, the show came on at 4 p.m., and that was like my relaxing situation. It was 2 episodes back to back. And that just got me started going down the lane because even in that show, they introduced other characters. Different storylines, like Jonah Hex was in that show, and Ra's al Ghul, and just to know that there's a plethora of stories that are down the rabbit hole, I ended up going down and traveling to see, how exciting Batman could be.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of is, I know it's kind of an older cartoon, but, because it used to be like in the 90s, the early 90s, late 80s, all the cartoons only had to do with that character, very rarely branched into the other characters. But like the Spider-Man and his amazing friends from the very early 80s, late 70s, they had the gauntlet of Marvel characters in that show. So when Batman the Animated Series comes out, man, he had, like you said, just everybody coming in, and it did kind of introduce you to that world. And then once they go into like Justice League, it's everybody. So yeah, no, I really did. I think it's just one of the best shows. Definitely the best Batman show.
Right.
So definitely. All right, so obviously Batman Begins. Now, okay, I know Batman Begins is what we picked. Is this actually your favorite Batman movie?
No, The Dark Knight Rises is my actually favorite. That's my favorite one. But I will say this: Batman Begins, in my opinion, is the perfect Batman movie. Um, just how it goes into him being in the shadows, his origin of being with the League of Shadows, his training, and then coming into Gotham, becoming a mythological figure. Um, his scene, we'll talk about it, but when he's introduced wearing the suit in the docks, and just those things seem very quintessential of being Batman that a lot of movies have glimpsed on or skipped out on and made them all the way in the forefront. Um, I would say The Dark Knight is more of a Heath Ledger movie than a Batman movie or a crime drama that has Batman in it. And The Dark Knight Rises, to me, it was just like a culmination of all those things. I know people have their gripes. I know you have your gripe with it, but all in all, there was a lot of gems that I was able to pull from that made me enjoy that one the most.
I don't hate Dark Knight Rises, but it's like the X-Men 3 of the Nolan trilogy,
I
in
agree.
my opinion. Like, it's just not well, no, X-Men 3 is just a horrible movie. But anyway, okay, so let me ask you this. Now, so does that mean Batman is your favorite character in this movie?
Yes, he is.
Now, do you like Christian Bale the best as Batman?
Oh, that's a tough question. Um, I think he served his purpose for the movies, and me going against the grain once again. But Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman, and I just wish we had more of him. It's a big pause.
No, honestly, I'm not sure if I told you this last time, but there was one time after Batman and Robin came out, and me and my friend Jay were at Starbucks back before Starbucks was as big as I think it is. It was still like the yuppie coffee place to go. This is like 99, 2000, maybe 2001. No more, no sooner than 2001. And we're like, how would we reboot this? So I planned out what I would do as my Batman movie, like beat for beat, how I would do it, who these characters would be. I casted it, and I picked Ben Affleck to be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is after seeing Batman Begins, I messaged him and I was like, dude, was David Goyer at that Starbucks?
Yeah, listen to you.
It's like of the 15 beats, it's 12.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
is
that's a lot.
ridiculous how much. Now, of course, it also is what my idea was to just cherry pick Batman Year One, but put Ra's al Ghul in it. So I mean,
Okay.
it's not like I was a genius. I mean, I am a genius, but
Mm-hmm.
that was what it was. It was just that, and so yeah, I had no problem with Ben Affleck. I think the writing was bad in his movies,
Yeah, that's what killed it.
but on paper, Ben Affleck as Batman, that Batman they were doing,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
So,
yeah, perfect.
but yeah, but no. So Christian Bale is your number two. Your number four.
Matter of fact, to be honest, he's my number three. My number two is Michael Keaton. And with Michael Keaton, I just felt like his duality of Batman and Bruce Wayne, for example, in the first movie, him being in the shadows, and he scared those goons on the rooftop, and the replayed or famous scene when he's like, "I'm Batman," right? That got me. And then he fought the guy in the alleyway when he was with Vicky Vale, and he just quickly like karate chops him or kicks him. I don't remember, but he just does it quickly, and I just feel like that's a quick Batman thing to do. But when he was Bruce Wayne, he was a totally different dude than being Batman. He wasn't moody. He wasn't like, maybe he could be Batman, but no, his whole second persona was totally different. And just for him playing off of like the Joker as Bruce Wayne, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. That's like solely left, like off the left field. So yeah, just those little things like that made me appreciate him more.
Yeah, I'll have to give it to you. He still has the best "I'm Batman" moment.
Yeah,
Like it is the quintessential over the edge of the thing. I'm Batman. But no, I think honestly, I mean, Val Kilmer's my favorite Batman for reasons.
really?
Yes.
You need to elaborate. You need to
Um,
elaborate.
I feel like Val Kilmer is the only one that played he's Batman all the time,
Okay,
and
that makes
he
sense.
and he disguises himself as Bruce Wayne. I feel
That's
like
true.
he's the only one that did that. His movie's horrible, but like I think I said it before, but like that first 5-10 minutes of Batman Forever is the most Batman has ever been ever, because you see his intelligence, you see his interaction with the cops, you see him a better
Mm.
beat down than he's given probably, just really cool, awesome beat down. Then using
Right.
intelligence again to get out of the thing, flying behind. I mean, it's just this flying behind a helicopter. It's like beat for beat everything you wanted him to do. And then
Yeah.
after that, the movie just
They're like, yoink.
he
Yeah,
has
they
this
took
cool
that out of
Batman
it.
moments.
Yeah.
Because my thing was I always wanted a Batman that does a lot of cool action,
Mm.
and some of it is limitation of the time, some of it's limitation of the suit. But like when he comes down out of the window and hits that pillar and does the like twirling flip and lands between the dudes, and
Yeah.
like you just like that's how he would do it. It wouldn't be like boom like
Right,
he
right,
does
real
in the Keaton,
Wow. Yeah.
but but at the same time, like I know limitations to this costume, but I mean I just thought he was cool. But Christian Bale to me on the flip side is the only one who I physically bought could have been Batman,
Yeah. Okay.
you know. But no, I mean I think Christian Bale, he is definitely the best actor to portray Batman.
Yeah.
And he was very good, like you said, in that Nolan version. Because that Nolan version of Batman, you're right. Batman Begins is very comic booky, but then it kind of goes into different directions, and it's really cool in its realism. But it's also locked into an idea that this is a Batman that would never exist with other superheroes. You just
Yeah,
can't
not at all.
imagine that Batman being with Brandon Routh's Superman. It just
No.
doesn't make sense at all. And so yeah, I think but beyond that, like yeah, Batman Begins is when I the last time I really sat down and watched it was probably about a year and a half ago, and it
Mm.
is a master class in acting that Christian Bale is pulling off. Just
Okay.
a master class. Just the layers you see, the fake, oops, sorry, the fake Bruce Wayne, and then you see he wants to be real with Rachel, and then the girls are like,
Yeah.
no, no, and he's like,
Yeah, he was struggling. Yeah, it was eating him up inside. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
like oh, I gotta do this fake thing so I can do my real thing.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's phenomenal. So what is your favorite scene from this movie?
My favorite scene. Oh, when he interrogates Flash and he gets the guy, he was like, "What? Your kids don't like falafel?" And
Yeah,
then he goes, he scoops him up, and the guy's like, he's running it to him, telling him everything. And he's like, I don't know, swear to God. He swear to me, and he drops him down again, and that's like a totally Batman thing. And it was just everything out of Batman that I do like. But I will say my second one, and it's kind of minor. It's just a moment, but it's when he's in an apartment and Jonathan Crane is there, the Scarecrow, and you see Batman come out of the shadows in the background before he gets lit on fire. And I've never seen, that on live action of Batman, moving that way. It's either he's gone like a ghost or he's up front already in your face. But to have his ninjutsu training already be shown along with his detective work, and it's just a moment, in that movie. And it's my second favorite, instance in that film.
You know what's funny? You're gonna kill yourself. You're gonna be like, "What? You got to be kidding me!" Go back and rewatch that scene when they first walk into the apartment. He disappears as well.
Nah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, go back and watch. It's just one of those, like you're saying, like you're just like I think it was the second time I watched it in the theater, and I was like, he's right there, and he
Oh,
does. Like they walk in, and as they're walking in, he just drops down and disappears.
wow.
And then when he reappears in a completely different spot.
Yes,
Now whether that means he's armor crawling.
Right.
but yeah, if you go back and check it out, you just see him just like drop down into
Yeah,
a
do a real quick ninja roll.
Yeah. Well, that is great, man. That is this so I think we've got everything. Okay, so here you go. I know my answer. And we can get into it later, but so if you could change one thing from this movie, what would you change?
The fighting, the choreography, it's trash. It's horrible. I understood because I watched Christopher Nolan's take on it. He was like he wants to make it as Batman as a force, but the quick edits, the shaky cam, it doesn't make me enthralled. It just makes me confused, and I just really felt like like I know that he went through years of training. The closest visual of him fighting was in the beginning of the movie in the prison, but at the same time, that's still chopped up in a bad way, and you just see him drag a dude off. So the editing and the fighting choreography, that needs to be improved tenfold. And that's why Ben Affleck's warehouse scene is one of the best scenes, for Batman to be portrayed.
Yeah, I agree. Like and then when I learned about that fighting method and saw it, like in the behind the scenes stuff, and then did more research and kind of studied it, I get why they did that. It's a really proficient martial art. It's called KFM or KC fighting method, but it's very, I'm not gonna lie, it just looks really stupid because you're up here doing this and kind of coming around and doing this weird. I wish I could do a better demonstration for you, but it just looks really goofy. Like if you go watch, if I'll put links below in the group as you see, but it just looks weird. So I think that's part of what they did. They hit it, and I know, like in the behind the scenes, I was like, well, I wanted fighting to be deadly. I'm like, yeah, you can still be deadly, but you don't have to. I don't have to be here and then like you're saying, you don't see a lot. It's a cool style, and they modified it enough that it worked in the movie. But yeah, it'd have been nice to see a little bit more of what he was actually doing.
Right.
But yeah, it's I think that's what it was. It was just such a weird fighting style. I don't think they knew exactly how to shoot it. And so that's just kind of because yeah, if you go watch the behind the scenes on how they did this stuff, the fight choreography is awesome. It just looks really weird, and I think that is an inherent thing with a lot of superhero movies, especially when you put them in costumes. You can have the coolest fighting in the world, but if the costume looks weird, it's going to look weird. So like, a cape and all that, like it's just, it can be difficult. And that's why, like, I liked, going back to it, like some of the fighting they did in Batman Forever. Like he just does, like, you can tell he's learned how to fight with the cape, which is what you have to do. So I thought it was really cool because they cheated on Batman versus Superman. He doesn't ever have the cape on. Like if you watch, they CGI the cape.
Okay.
And they do the same thing with Superman and Man of Steel. It's like a 50-50. So if you go back and watch like the behind the scenes of them shooting that, he never has the cape on. It's always for mobility. Like, for mobility. Because the cape, like a cape is so unpredictable anyway. So either you have to make it so heavy that it doesn't flow and then it looks like crap. Or light enough that it does flow and now it's getting in the way.
It's just moving around.
Yeah.
Messing on shots,
Yeah. So, but no, I can't disagree with you. Yeah. But mine would be, I'd recast Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes because she is the weakest link of this entire film. She is horrible.
Yeah.
I always have made the joke that Christopher Nolan's like, all right, so who do I have to use for this girl? I'm going to pick this person. And they're like, no, you have to use Katie Holmes. He's like, no, but you don't understand. I have Michael Caine as Alfred. I have Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I got
Morgan Freeman is here. Michael Caine is here.
I got Gary Oldman is going to
Gary
be Gordon. So
Yes.
can you let me pick an actress? And they're like, no, use Katie. No, you don't understand. Liam Neeson is here. Liam Neeson is here. I cannot have Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
I can't have Katie Holmes in this movie with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Please, anybody. So that's why I think he killed that character in the second one, because he was like, I don't want to cast another horrible actress. Because then they got rid of her and they gave him Maggie Gyllenhaal. That's not any better. He's like, screw it, I'm just gonna kill her.
Yeah.
That's me being Bean. Anyway. All right. So here's a fun one. This is a different one. If you could play any role in this movie, what role would you play?
The role.
Like anybody in the movie. You could replace Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes if you wanted to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna be honest. I would like to be Alfred. I wouldn't mind. I know it's totally different.
Alfred?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Because I mean, if it was me as Alfred, not me playing Alfred, my name would be Ryan, who is also Alfred. But if I would be able to like help out, understand, tell him about the Batcave, and also like help with the graphite and all the things that Alfred did as like an additive to Batman, then I would be very fine with that. And being words of wisdom, especially going through the franchise.
Hey man.
So yeah, Alfred.
I'd like to, me, I'm just gonna be Batman.
Yeah.
Because I'm dumb that way. I'm like, whatever.
I don't think I want to do all that work.
Right.
I don't, spoiling the movie, I don't want a fire log to fall on me. I would just say, yo, you do all those push-ups, lift it up. I'm not going to do it.
Wait, I have to get in shape to be in the Batman? Can you just recut Taylor a nice tuxedo? I'll be good with that. I don't want to hit the gym or nothing. All right, so now that we've gone through that, we know your favorite parts. We know the characters, the role you'd want to play. Now we're going to do the thing that most people are like, they feel like it's really difficult, and we're going to recast the movie. And what we're going to do is we're going to act like you're a producer. Somebody walks in with the exact same script, puts it on your desk and says, find a director. And he says, cast this movie. So now that's how we're going to play it. And I don't know how deep you went, but let's do this. How far did you go? Did you go to Thomas Wayne? I'll tell you what I did. I did Thomas Wayne, Falcone, Lucius Fox, Gordon, Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul, fake Ra's al Ghul, Rachel, Alfred, Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Same.
Okay. Let's do it. All right. Who did you pick for Thomas Wayne?
For Thomas Wayne, I picked, it's crazy. So he's a very good actor, and Thomas Wayne does have a lot to do. There's flashbacks. He helps Batman move along, or Bruce Wayne, and he has his death. And I just feel like he's a good actor. He's underutilized, but I feel like he would serve the movie. Is Eric Bana?
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. If he can be King Arthur, he can be Thomas Wayne. I don't see why.
You absolutely right. And he was in that movie very short, but Thomas Wayne is a bigger role than that movie was as King.
He was the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he was. And then they were like, yeet, out of here.
Yeah. You're too good. We cannot have the dad outshine the main star. We gotta get him out of here. I picked Matthew Morrison from do you know who I'm talking about? From Glee, the teacher.
Oh wow, that's a good cast, and I'm glad you said that because I didn't know his name.
Yeah. Well, this is why I picked him. Let me tell you, because the thing I loved about the casting that they did of Thomas Wayne in Batman Begins is that he's not the guy you would think would be a hero. He's
Mhm.
just this very gentle man. He's not an action hero. He's a doctor. He's helping people. So what I wanted was somebody who
Yeah.
was had charisma, was good looking, but like you could go, but if he tried, he'd be beefy and could do some stuff because he's got to pass that genetics onto his
Right.
son. And that's why I like
Right.
Matthew Morrison. He's good looking. He's got a good build. He's got some charisma. He's a good actor. But
Right.
I think he would could play that, especially now that he's 10 years out of Glee since it
Mhm.
started. He's gonna have like that mid 40s, not
Yeah.
over the
Facts.
hill dad, but like
Yeah.
I can be a mentor to this boy who grows up
Right.
to be one of the best criminal fighters, crime fighters of all time. So that's why
Right.
I picked him. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, who did you pick for Falcone?
I picked Bobby Cannavale. He was the stepdad in Ant-Man who played the cop, and he so in not Breaking Bad. I'm sorry, Boardwalk Empire. He was the villain in season 3, and his charisma and everything about a villain. Like he goes in. I'm gonna just tell you the scene in Boardwalk Empire. It's like an introduction scene of him. He's at a party, and all the other mobsters are having a meeting with each other. He's this new dude from New York, and he's like, "Man, all of you, this, that, f, 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 f," just cussing them out. And then he says, "Relax, I'm just doing a joke." And he's like, "You guys have a good night." And just to have that kind of like gravitas in the scene, and him being in that realm of like a mobster, I think would just hold suit, for the movie.
No, I think that's cool, man. I like that dude. I like that dude. I picked Jeffrey Donovan. He was the lead in Burn Notice, the TV
Oh
show.
wow, yeah,
Because
wow,
I've
yeah,
seen
he's a
him play
fantastic actor.
I've seen him play some villains like in Hitch, where he has like that like stupid, overconfident, like prick swagger. And I was like,
Yeah,
I could
that's
just
a
see
different
him,
film.
yeah, just chewing up. Well, and I also again, I get real physical when it comes as like somebody who probably had to fight their way to the top, figuratively and literally. So
I
like
like
a,
that.
a Falcone that at this point he's probably over the hill, but like you could say at one time, like maybe even have him fight Batman. I don't care. Everybody can fight Batman. Why not? But I just
Right,
like the idea of him
yeah,
like just being that kind of like
right,
just whatever you want, man. I could take this gun and shoot you with these judges over here. No one's gonna care. Just like you could just see
yeah.
him doing it. I think that'd be really cool. All right. I cheated on Lucius Fox, but you tell me you're Lucius Fox. And I think I almost changed mine, but I was like, I don't know if I'm stealing his. So tell me you're Lucius Fox.
So I'll tell you who it is, but I tell you my runner ups.
You can do that real quick. Yeah. Why not?
All right, my runners up were well, I'll just say one because I can't remember the actor's name, but it was Lawrence Fishburne at first, but I just felt like he had too much of a similar role in Ant-Man, so I was like I kind of don't like that. But my official pick is Ernie Davis.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. From Ghostbusters.
Yeah, from
No,
Ghostbusters. Yep, that
Ernie
same
Hudson.
Ernie Davis.
Ernie
Yeah,
Hudson.
Ernie. So who's Ernie Davis?
I don't know. That sounds like from Ghostbusters. That's Ernie Hudson.
Well, man, Ernie Hudson it is.
All right. I I was on the fence.
Okay.
I still feel like Sterling K. Brown is my pick.
Wow.
Just because I like him. But the only problem is I feel like age-wise he's too young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then I was like, well, I could go Jamie Foxx, but Jamie Foxx doesn't look his age anyway, so I don't know if I've solved any problems.
Right.
So I think I'm going to stick with Sterling K. Brown, and then he can make up for being, Killmonger's dad or something.
Right. That's a
So
good pick.
I think that'd be cool. All
Yeah, I
right.
wouldn't have seen that coming. Yeah, that's a great
Well,
pick.
I mean, he's just. I know it's weird, but in Frozen 2, he kind of plays this mentorish character,
It's true.
and I was like, that would be cool. I would love to see that. And not everybody has to be Morgan Freeman age to be
No.
like, because in Batman Begins, he's technically only gone 5, 10 years. That
Mhm.
Lucius Fox doesn't have to be super old, doesn't, because even if he's the same age as his dad, it's only been 15 years since all
Mhm.
that happened. So, he could have been in his early 30s and now he's in his late 40s as
Right, that
Lucius
makes sense.
Fox. So, all right, who you got for Gordon? Who you got for Gordon?
Oh, another Batman-esque alum, but Jeffrey D. Morgan.
I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
it. I'm
I
not mad about that. That's cool.
the in my mind, no, I was really thinking about what the fan casting is, and it's usually Breaking Bad guy. I can't think of his name, but
Um, yeah, from
Walter White.
yeah,
But
Bryan
I was
Cranston.
like, yeah, and Bryan Cranston, and he did it excellently in the voice work in year one, and he still has the look, and even him being an older guy, it seems like he could just really convey that. But I was thinking of someone who is willing to do the work, who can do the work, um, you know, from being a street cop to who've seen something gritty, who could still have that weight of wanting to fight crime. I just thought of Jeffrey D. Morgan.
Yeah. Well, you know mine. You know mine because I told you last week, which is, or do you remember who I said I picked for Gordon?
I don't.
Benicio del Toro.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Like
And I
just,
almost stole it. I almost stole it. But I was like, no, I'm gonna let him have it. We'll surprise everybody.
I
Yeah.
just think it's like like you're saying, like to pick a Gordon who you could imagine like if his integrity was slightly askew, he'd be right there with Batman.
Right.
And I really like Del Toro. I like him and Sicario. It was just dangerous, man. I
Yeah.
love when he's dangerous. So
Yeah.
I just think that would be so cool. But you could see also like, you know, uh, it sounds weird, but I think there's a lot of these characters that if 20 years ago Batman had been Batman, they'd have been in his team, not as backup. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I feel like, like something like that. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool. All right, so let's see. Did you cast Scarecrow? Crane?
I did.
All right, who'd you pick?
And I went for a creepy face
All right, who'd you do?
as a person. But Wes Bentley. He was in Ghost Rider.
I
He
know it
played
was yeah.
the villain's son.
No, I think
So
that's a good one. I mean, I liked him in that. He was, the only kind of good thing in that Ghost Rider movie.
mhm.
So why'd you pick him?
First of all, his look, his face, he has a very distinguished look. But also I watched the show Yellowstone, and he plays the son of Kevin Costner in that show, and he's a lawyer. And the thing about him in that show is that he has a lot of performances where he gives emotion to his face. Um, he doesn't, so he emotes. So he doesn't have like a lot of I don't know. There's just like fluidity to him that I felt like Scarecrow needed, especially when you're in the moments of him being Scarecrow, and then also before he turns and he's Jonathan Crane, and he has that moment with Falcone while they're in the asylum, and I just feel like someone who has a lot of nuances. I felt like he would be able to carry that, and his face is creepy.
Yes, he's a very creepy looking dude. I went with Ed Skrein, the bad guy from the first Deadpool movie. Francis,
Wow.
like
Wow.
just
But he's pretty though. He's a
I
pretty
know,
man.
I know, because that's what's creepier. Like to me, what's creepier is that guy who like you could be like there and he's hitting on your girl and you're hanging out with him, and then like kills the dude next to you, and then
Uh,
like says like no 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 don't worry about it here why don't
uh,
you smell this? Does it smell like
right,
chloroform? Like
right, right,
just
right,
that
right,
weird kind of guy, and then he puts the mask on and he goes completely nuts because Killian Murphy, like you don't believe he's gonna be crazy. He's
right,
just kind of like this nice, cool guy. So I thought that would
right.
be kind of a different take on Scarecrow. All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's do fake Ra's al Ghul next. Who'd you pick for fake Ra's al Ghul?
Uh, I can't pronounce his name. Hiroki Sanada. He
Okay.
was
I know
he was
you.
the Yakuza in Endgame,
Yeah.
and
The
he's in a lot of other stuff. He was in Last Samurai. He was in Last Shiv, and he just shows up. He's a working actor, you know.
go
Um,
go go check out Twilight Samurai.
all right, then
He
that's
has
something I
a
need to watch.
awesome fight scene by a riverbed with the samurai. It's
Yeah,
really cool. Yeah, that dude's awesome. He was also in Speed Racer.
he is in Speed Racer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. I used I'm trying to remember how to pronounce Iko Uwais, the guy from the Raid, from the Raid
What, like
Redemption.
the
The main
yeah.
dude. The main dude
Oh,
from the
for
Raid.
real?
Yeah.
That's totally off. Why? Why? I mean, that's different. Why?
To just have this like total BA dude as the
Okay.
fake Ra's al Ghul, because that's the thing. Like Ken Watanabe, he was great, but he was also a BA. Like the
Yeah.
only reason Bruce Wayne survives is because the the ceiling collapses. Like he was doing his thing. So I was
Yeah.
like, it'd be cool as if it was like a dude who was legit BA, and it's not like he has more than 2 lines. So I don't
Yeah.
know why. Like I was like, that would be different. That'd be interesting to
Yeah.
have him just kind of step up and be like, okay, why not?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So then, who'd you pick as Ducard slash Ra's al Ghul?
Real. Luke Evans.
Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I like Luke Evans. Is you gonna have him sing?
No.
No, no one
No.
fights like Ducard, drinks a beer
Yeah. Right. Right.
like Ducard.
You said Ducard. Yeah.
Mentors a Batman like Ducard.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm going to cut that out. I don't know.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Leave it in. They need to know.
Why Luke Evans? Why Luke Evans? Tell me.
I just feel like he's a fantastic actor, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the position that Liam Neeson did, I feel like he'll just be able to like accentuate and bring a tenacity that Liam Neeson did. And even though Liam Neeson was super perfect, I just feel like how he played in Fast Six and even as Gaston in the end of Beauty and the Beast was a very passionate like role. But he was more quiet in Fast Six. But just I don't know. I just see him, with the hair, with the mustache. I could just picture his face, and then saying the lines of like, who was weak? It was your father. It wasn't the killer. I could just picture Luke Evans just delivering that with just a lot of class. I like the guy.
Well, why don't you cast Josh Gad as the fake Ra's al Ghul then? He's
It
was
crossed my mind.
this.
I really thought about it.
Oh my gosh. See, this is something I did when I was doing a lot of this casting. And I did it when I cast Highlander, when I cast some other stuff. As I really kind of got into this, and it's kind of funny. Like I'm not, no judgment, but I'm
Yeah, yeah.
like, does this guy have to be white? What is this guy's real background? Because he's Middle Eastern.
Okay.
He's from Saudi, I think it's from Saudi Arabia, or he's Eurasian or something like that. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go non-traditional casting per se, and I went
Yeah.
with Cliff Curtis.
That's perfect.
Just
That's perfect.
I love
He's an
Cliff
amazing
Curtis,
actor.
and I was like, because they I just felt like, man, I can imagine him with that thing and just doing the whole like detective, and
Yeah.
and I think what he would bring, which is something I think the casting of Liam Neeson was so meta in
Okay.
that we're so used to him being the mentor that
Mm.
it didn't cross a single person's mind that he's duping him.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because I got mad at myself for not realizing, because I always see that stuff. He
Yeah.
even has the freaking facial hair, and I
Yeah, it
missed
looked
it.
just like him. Huh.
And it was because I went geek in pre-crisis, which is when DC kind of rebooted a lot of stuff in the late '80s. There was a character in Batman's background called Ducard who taught him
Yeah,
how to
Henry
be a
Ducard.
detective,
Yeah.
and that's why
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they went deep, and it's Liam Neeson. That's a
Right. That's what
perfect
I
mentor.
thought too at the time.
So
Yeah.
when he showed up at the end, I was like, no. So I think if you cast Cliff Curtis in that casting, because he's always nowadays, he hasn't been the bad guy in a while. He's
Mhm.
always like this nice chummy guy. So I think him being that character, you might actually fall for it again.
Right.
That he would be Ducard. So that's why I thought that would be interesting. That was me. That was me.
Mhm.
So all right, brother. Who'd you cast as Rachel? You got to make up for Katie Holmes. Who'd you cast?
Yeah. Basically out of a giant crush. But she did a lot of character work in Community. Allison Brie.
Okay, yeah.
She's also on. I thought of somebody brunette, somebody beautiful, but her character Annie has a lot of layers. Her nickname in high school was Annie Adderall, and she had a mental breakdown, but she tries to keep herself composed throughout the rest of the show. And you know, with shows being like 26 episodes a season and it ran for 6 seasons, there's a lot of things that you can throw in to make up or show somebody's character or acting range. And just the stuff that she did throughout that show, and I think she's beautiful. I made her Rachel
Okay,
if I was the producer.
that's perfect. That's perfect. Now you're going. I think you might get mad at me, or maybe yourself. I cast Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh wow! No, that's a great cast. That's
Like,
awesome.
and I
I want to
this
see that. Let me ask you something though.
okay.
With that casting, what would be her childhood relationship? Like, how would that family dynamic work with Bruce?
Exactly the same.
Okay, exactly the
Exactly.
same.
Like, and this is something. This goes back to a conversation I had with Demarcus years and years ago. Is
Right.
that there's so much of this that these characters were made in the 60s
Mm-hmm.
or created in the 50s and 60s, where white people were the creators, they were the
Yeah.
main audience. So there was no like doing different races. Batman is one of those characters in my mind that doesn't have to be white. I did
Oh,
cast him
really?
white in this movie,
Yeah.
but I think the only reason you don't change his ethnicity is because he is such an icon.
Okay.
But when you look at his story, nothing in his story says he's white at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His dad's a doctor. His dad is a
Yeah.
wealthy doctor. His dad is killed by a criminal,
Yeah.
and then he becomes a crime fighter.
Yeah.
Nothing in that is altered by whether he's white, black, Hispanic, Asian, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. Now,
Right.
again, I say all that and I picked a white guy, but my point is more that if let's say we made the movie today, it's
Mm-hmm.
2020. That
Yeah.
means his parents were killed because he's 25. Technically, we're going to say 25 in the movie. 15
Yeah.
years ago is 2005. 2005, a kid 10, 12 years old is not going to have racism. Well, depending on where he lives. I mean, we'll
Mm-hmm.
be honest. He was not going to have
Mm-hmm.
that, like, this is a black girl who is the daughter of our butler or our maid. I'm not going to
Right.
associate with her. Because if he
Right.
was that way, he wouldn't have associated with her anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if
Mm-hmm.
it would be more of a, this is the maid's daughter or the cook's daughter. I'm not going to talk to her. It wouldn't matter race.
Mm-hmm.
Now later on or a different area, maybe that's a thing. But
Mm-hmm.
they even get into that whole aspect of, it's a very throwaway line, but Alfred tells Bruce that the whole reason they have the tunnels underneath Wayne Manor is that they were helping with the Underground Railroad.
Yeah, with the slave. Yeah.
So that would mean, like, not to be weird, but the racism is not a thing in that family.
Right.
So he would not have had that in him ingrained as a child anyway.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't think it would change at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be, I think it would be cool. And like to me, I needed the opposite of Katie Holmes, which was a fantastic actress.
That's true.
And she's a
Yeah.
fantastic actress. So that
Yeah.
was my thing, is I've just always hated Katie Holmes in this movie. I just think she is, and bless her heart, but she's just not a good actress. And like
Yeah.
she's good, but again, when you have the list of actors and talent. When you have her opposite Christian Bale, it just looks like,
Yeah.
Christian Bale's like, it's not what I do, it's who I choose to do. And then she's like, is that
Yeah.
you, Bruce? She just looks so
Yeah.
out of place, but
Yeah.
she's also fresh off Dawson's Creek. So, I
Mhm.
mean, but that was my only thing is I just feel like she's just not, I guess I shouldn't say horrible, even though she's not great, but I just think she's so with the level of everybody else. You just want Gary Oldman to, "Psh, will you act for a second while we're doing this scene?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Let the
anyway,
grown-ups act.
yeah, let the girl on the tap. You
Yeah.
go back to the creek, little girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was my like for
Yeah. You went there. No, but that makes sense.
yeah. All right. So who's your Alfred? Who's your Alfred? Tell me. Tell me.
Kenneth Branagh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I I was just thinking. I mean, the actors that are cast currently as Alfred are like what's his name, Andy Serkis. Like if he wasn't already in there, I would have picked Andy Serkis and more of Jeremy Irons. I was like, man, we didn't get to see enough of him, and when he was there, he like made the role his own. But Kenneth Branagh always delivers. He's an actor's actor. He's a thespian. Um, and his work as Perot in the last movie, not the Nile, that hasn't come out yet, but the previous one, Murder on the Orient Express. Him just, I don't know. He's just a fantastic actor, and I loved him in Othello. And I loved him in Hamlet, and he's just a great actor, and he's a older man of the like he's older now, so I just felt like it would be a perfect place for him to be Alfred.
Dude, he's that Hamlet is the only way to watch Hamlet.
I believe that.
Like it's the only way. Because I watched it. I hadn't watched it ever, and then I was trying to show Ryan, my wife, what's it called? Because I'd seen like I've read Hamlet. I knew the story, but
Right, right.
I loved. Have you ever seen Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead?
No.
You have homework. So I was trying to show my wife that, but she didn't know the story of Hamlet. So I was like, well, let me go get Hamlet. And I was like, I'm not getting that Mel Gibson one because I ain't
Okay.
buying that at all. I was like, let's do this. We had to put the subtitles on, but it's fantastic. He is
Yeah.
amazing. And I've like Dead Again. I've always liked his movies, So yeah, I got no problem with that. I picked Michael Sheen.
Oh wow, as Alfred? Yo, who is your Batman? Yeah, that's wild. For real?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Michael Sheen from
Yes.
he's
He
always
was
playing the
Wesley Snipes.
do what?
Yeah, he was Wesley Snipes in 30 Rock. That was his name. It was a joke that they played on.
Oh,
His name
I
was
haven't
Wesley
watched
Snipes.
I haven't watched 30 Rock. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, he's amazing. I love him. Yeah, that's a great cast.
I thought it'd be interesting and just kind of do that whole like, more mentor than dad like they've kind of
Hmm.
done. I thought that would be cool. So, yeah, I don't know why he just stuck out of my head as somebody was like, "Okay, yeah, I could do that."
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother. All right, here it is. Here it is. Who's your Bruce Wayne Batman?
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but you'll know him when I say him. Tyler Hoechlin.
Hoagland.
He's currently Superman.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's who I feel like he's horribly miscast as Superman. I felt like that was a very bad idea. I don't mind him working and getting a paycheck to an iconic character, but his structure, body type, everything about him screams Bruce Wayne. It doesn't scream Clark Kent whatsoever. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. I watched Teen Wolf. I know you didn't, but he was the mentor in Teen Wolf, and before being a mentor, he was a villain. And for him to be dark and his character had a lot of history where his family got murdered. So he was like looking for the murderers who were wolf hunters, right? So he had a lot of vendetta. He had a vendetta. So with him having that drive, that focus, and the guy is built, and it's crazy that he's like two years older than me, but he's like built like I don't know what, And I'm like, man, I need to get on it. So it's like I just felt like he needed. It's a missed opportunity for him not to be Batman.
I like him as Superman,
I
but
like him as Superman as
I think
well.
he's really. But I see what you're saying. Like there is an edge to him that might lend itself more to Batman. The whole time I'm watching the Stitcher, the Stitcher, the Witcher, right? Isn't that the show where is the
Yeah,
with Henry Cavill? I'm
yeah,
just
Henry
like
Cavill.
maybe he should have been Batman. Like
Yeah, he was you.
he's just
Yeah,
Batman the whole time. He's just playing
yeah,
Batman as the Witcher, and I was just like, that'd have been it. So yeah, there he. No, I could see that. I could see that. I ain't got a problem with that. I'd be fine with that. That's fine. Why not? Whatever. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to like because I haven't seen him. The only other thing I've seen him is Road to Perdition.
Oh, he was a kid then.
Yeah, he was a kid, so I really haven't seen any of the other stuff he's been in. I think it's one of those guys who I think I've seen movies he's in and I don't remember him.
Right.
You know, but no, I think he's dude. I just think he does such a good job being not Henry Cavill's Superman.
I agree.
You know, and I think that's why I like him so much. Is he kind of sometimes you tend to mimic the movie version, and it
Yeah,
was just like he really did come in and go like, no, I'm doing nothing like this guy.
yeah.
So now I don't buy that him and Melissa Beignet or whatever her name is are cousins
This is,
in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how Kryptonian, you know, genetics work,
right.
but somebody had a different colored parent.
Yeah,
Like, because he's not white, but he's not anything else.
yeah.
So that was my only like, sure, I guess why not? That was my only, but yeah, I think that's cool. I picked somebody out of left field, bro. Just
Mm,
like what the heck? But I've always liked him. Everything I've
mm.
seen him in, I've thought he's been really good. I think he's one of those guys who he they kept putting him up front, and then the movie he was in wasn't great, or he got outshined by somebody else. So, but it's Garrett Hedlund.
Remind me who he is.
He was Patroclus in Achilles in Troy. He was the lead in
Oh,
Tron
in
Legacy.
Tron.
Yeah,
No, that's not left field. That's brilliant. That is brilliant, Cassie. He is amazing. He's amazing, especially in Troy. And then they killed him off. Man, I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
No,
I threw my paper down. I threw my-
well, because I just thought like he's the right age and he can
yeah.
vary because Christian Bale was 30 when he made Batman Begins, and he plays
Mhm.
like the younger and then the older. They kind of with the different hair, and I'm like
Right,
he
with
can
the
still
hair.
do it, but there he was in. Oh man, what was that horrible movie? Aragorn or whatever.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Don't. But he played like a little darker in that,
Okay.
and I thought it was really cool. And then just watching Tron Legacy when I was recasting all these movies and the Batman Begins thing, and I'm just sitting there going like, because I would look up actors and kind of like, I don't want to go with the normal one. I want to do something a little different, the original. And then he came up, and I was like, bro, yes, like
Yeah.
this would be because the thing I found interesting about him is like when he got cast as Achilles or as Patroclus and Troy, he had to put on like 20 pounds of muscle
Okay, I
because
didn't know that.
he had to look big, but he didn't put
Yeah.
on like he was already like he's 155 pounds, gets that
Mhm.
role, goes up to 175,
Okay.
so that he's at least not scrawny.
Yeah.
Then he goes, I think it was like Friday Night Lights is the next movie he does. He does some other
Mhm. Yeah,
movie,
he was great in that.
and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, you're not big enough to be a football player, so he puts on another 20 pounds.
Hmm.
So now he's 40 pounds more of muscle than he was when he moved to LA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if he can do that, I think he could do it for this role because I'm never big a fan of like super buff, ridiculously big Batman, but he's got to be
Hmm.
in shape. So, but anyway, I
Yeah.
just think like he's a really good actor. Watching Tron Legacy, I just recently watched it like within the last like 6 months, and I really had this moment of like, why did people not like this movie? He's great.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges is ever always great no matter what. You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah. I
and
loved him as Clue.
yeah, it was all a good movie, and I just kind of was like,
Yeah.
why didn't this guy do more? But it's that whole thing of like he's the lead of that movie. That movie doesn't work. He gets the blame. You know,
Yeah.
he was in a lot of these movies where he just gets, he was really good in Troy, but he gets outshined
Brad Pitt.
by Brad Pitt. So he's done a lot of good stuff, and I was like, man, that would be so cool. I think he would do a great job, and because he's not big. I think that was the biggest thing for Christian Bale, is even though Christian Bale had done a lot of stuff, he wasn't like stereotyped yet. Because like Ben
No,
Affleck
he
was
wasn't.
perfect, but everybody's Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Bring that with you. But with him, you have nothing. He might be the guy from Tron, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that would be that's who I would cast as Batman, is him.
Yeah.
He's got the good looks, but he could be kind of dark. He
Right.
has skill. Like I think it'd be awesome.
Right.
So all right, man. Dun, 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 dun. Director, bro. Who'd you pick as your director?
Ben Affleck. Seriously. Yep. Ben Affleck. Just
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
I had to keep him tied to Batman somehow.
Dude, what's it called? Gone Baby Gone was a really good movie.
Yeah, it is.
Argo? Is that what it's called? Argo?
Yeah.
He's directed. He's done a great job directing films because he directed The Town as well, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So like, yeah. I have no problem with that. I think he's a solid director. Didn't he win an Academy Award for Argo? Like, I mean,
Yeah, for Argo. Yeah,
something
for
like
best
that. I don't know. So like, I think, yeah, no, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, he won an Academy Award. I'm not gonna be, yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
you're right.
Oh, but I do have a runner-up. I had a
Okay.
runner-up that wasn't
Okay.
Ben Affleck,
Okay, what is
and
it?
his name is John Hillcoat, and he directed the movie 999. Oh, he directed The Proposition with Guy Pearce, the
Okay.
Western in Australia,
Mhm.
and yeah, he was my runner-up, but ultimately it was Ben Affleck.
No, I think that's cool. That's cool. I picked Christopher McQuarrie.
No way. No, that's a fast-paced, great. That's a great movie. Yeah, yeah,
Dude, I loved the first Jack Reacher. So
yeah.
awesome.
It's a great movie.
And then he did the two Mission Impossibles after that.
Possibles, yes,
So
yes. The pacing was the pacing in the Mission Impossibles that he did, and the visuals that he did, and the architecture and the cinematography, and the cinematography in the Dark Knight. I mean, you could tell that they had sets, but when you had that scene when Batman is actually standing over the building and you see his silhouette, like with Christopher McQuarrie's eye, that would shine. Yeah, I'm kind of mad at you for these picks that you got.
It's not my fault. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I think like sometimes when I look at, when I'm picking directors or I'm looking at stuff, I'm just like what is the stuff I like? And I mean, it's dumb to think this. I think you would do that, like stuff like, but also going like what does Batman need to be that it hasn't? And I think Batman Begins was epic scope. He's basically James Bond,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what Ethan Hunt is. So to kind of do
Mhm.
that, because that's why, like, I feel like Christopher Nolan, his next film needs to be a James Bond movie. Like, stop making
Yeah.
your weird stuff. Do James
Right.
Bond.
Right.
The Batman trilogy is his, audition for James Bond. He should
Right.
do James Bond. So yeah, I think that Christopher McQuarrie doing like a Batman movie, it would just be so much fun. You'd
Yeah.
have just the coolest thing. I think that it'd be fun.
Yeah.
He might
Yeah.
kill Garrett Hedlund trying to make him do the same stunts as Tom Cruise, but whatever.
Mhm.
Sacrifice for the
Yeah.
art.
Right. But Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. He'll do it regardless.
Yeah. All right. So, pardon me. So now that we've got our recast, we know what we're gonna do here. We know, how this went, and that you love Batman and Batman Begins. But I got a couple other quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Gonna be some of them will be the same, some will be different.
Okay.
I want to ask this one, even though we talked before. Like, what other movies were in contention? Like, obviously Transformers.
Yeah. Yeah. Transformers.
But other movies, like, were there any other movies you were like, man, maybe I might do that?
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did put that. I did put that out. Like, let's not repeat the same. But no,
Yeah.
I should have probably let you do that one. But this one's a
Yeah.
great one. Do Batman Begins.
Hmm.
I'm going to go back on it for a second and say, like, I don't think you get the MCU without Batman Begins. I
Really?
really don't, because you got to think the movies that came out before this. You got X-Men 3, you got
Yep.
Spider-Man 3. Those are
Yep.
all the movies that are before this. The Fantastic Four movies, the
Yeah.
comic book genre films are starting to plummet.
Yeah. 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 They had a peak, and then they were
They had a
going
peak,
downhill.
they're going down.
Yep.
And I'm like, and then I can't remember if Superman Returns is before or after this. I think it's before this.
No, Superman Returns is after. It came out
That's
in
right.
'06.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got comic movies are starting to go like Blade 3. Like you're getting a lot of these that are failing.
You're right. 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 Right.
And I think with Batman Begins, what you got is you not only have, we can make money with a comic book movie, but across the board, besides Katie Holmes, all the
Yeah.
acting's on point. You're
Right.
not talking about TV actors. Every single role is a big actor, a solid actor. Gary Oldman, Michael Caine, Christian Bale, Morgan Freeman, Rutger Hauer,
Yeah. Rutger Hauer. Yeah.
Liam Neeson, Ken Watanabe, who's coming off of his win from Last Samurai. Like
Yeah.
everybody in this film is big,
Right.
and that's where I was like, without that raising the bar of getting talent across the board, not just your lead, but everybody talent, I don't think you get Iron Man. I don't think you get the guts for them to go, let's get talent across the board. You know,
Okay.
'cause
That
you
makes
look,
sense.
look at the first Iron Man movie. The talent is out of the roof. Terrence
Yeah.
Howard is coming off
Yeah.
an Oscar. You've got
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr., even though, but he's a
No, he had his bad time, but
yeah,
him as an actor has always been there.
yeah. You got Jeff Bridges, and then think about what's her name? Oh, I can't remember. Gwyneth Paltrow
Yeah,
being
Gwyneth Paltrow.
that character. There's no way you get her without Batman Begins. You might get Katie Holmes.
Right.
So that's where I was.
Right.
I feel like Batman Begins is what allows the MCU to happen, in my opinion. I really do.
Okay.
So,
Mm.
but anyway, so that was a random thing that I kept meaning to tell you and forgot. So now we're saying it right now. Maybe I'll.
Yeah. Now it's there. Yep.
All right. So go back to rapid fire questions. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I don't know if I asked you this last time. What do you think is the most overrated movie in this wide sweep of fanboy or fandom? What's the most overrated one where you're like, why do people like this? This is dumb.
In fandom,
Yeah.
you already know because I said it in our group chat. But Dread, yeah, Dread,
Dread?
yeah,
Okay. That's right. You didn't like that movie.
no, not at all.
That
I gave it 2 chances. I tried to not be biased about it, and like maybe I'm wrong, but no, I'm fine with my feelings.
well, what's funny is we had that big chat of back and forth, and like part of me wanted to be like, dude, man, the movie's awesome. But then I was like, I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, yeah,
I liked it. It had its good merits. Like the biggest thing I like about that movie is the fact that Carl Urban was willing to put the mask on the entire movie.
yeah.
So until we get a Batman movie that he never takes the mask off, I'm not happy. Just saying. But
Okay.
I really feel like it was a cool movie, but it also suffers from the Raid Redemption being so much like it. But also like, yeah, I mean it's a bit of paint by the numbers, but it is. I enjoy it, but yeah, I can't. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to be mad at you. That's understandable. All right. So, what do you think in this kind of genre of randomness is the most underrated movie?
Oh, Equilibrium. Equilibrium.
Yes. Equilibrium's
It
good.
doesn't get enough love. Like we got a lot. Like there's a lot of. I'll say this: The Matrix gets a lot of a lot of love across from everybody. Like my mom even likes the first Matrix movie. And that's somebody who's not one of us, right?
Yeah.
So if you got somebody who could like that, but I just feel like Equilibrium is so under the radar of everything. Everything. Right? I'm not even gonna like list it. Like the movie is like a well-rounded, action-packed movie. Christian Bale kills it, and going through the politics that goes on and trying to solve things and the futuristic aspect. It's a wonderful, beautiful movie, and people don't watch it like it needs to be. Like nobody says, "Hey, let's pop on Equilibrium," but people will say, "Hey, let's pop on The Matrix." But Equilibrium needs that same kind of love to say, "Hey, let's pop this on."
See, and I love that movie. I actually saw that movie in the theater. My
Yeah,
friend saw it and was like, "Hey, go watch this movie. I think you'll really like it."
yeah,
And you know that was what maybe coined the phrase when he was cast as Batman. I was like, "Of course, he's Jesus Christ and Master of the Gun Kata. You know, of
yeah.
course they're going to pick him to be Batman." You know, and
Right.
no, it was a great. I won't. That's one of those movies where when they announced, because I remember when they were trying to cast Batman Begins, and
Mm,
they had all the listing, and I was like, I'm not buying anybody. And then he comes out of nowhere, and they're like, oh,
mm,
we've picked Christian Bale, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh yeah, he's already played him. He's already
mm,
played Bruce Wayne in
mm.
Equilibrium. Like this
Yeah,
is this perfect, and he can be physical. He's got the
right.
presence, you
Yeah,
know.
he already did it in Equilibrium.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, no, I love that movie. It looks too much like The Matrix,
Yeah.
and I think people dismiss it as that, even though it is absolutely nothing
No,
like The
it's not
Matrix.
that.
It
No.
has guns and long coats.
Yeah.
All movies have guns and long coats. It's not like The Matrix. It is
Yeah.
completely different. I prefer some of the. I mean, you know, the Gungada thing is kind of cheesy, but it looks great.
Yeah.
And you know, Christian Bale's just great in that movie. That's another one that has a lot of good talent in it. So yeah, no, that's a great pick, man. I really do. I own the DVD. Anytime someone's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Dude, yeah, check this out. If you haven't seen it, it's really
Mm-hmm.
cool." And yeah, you get that whole weird like the pills and blocking emotions. What does that do?
Right.
I love rewatching it and watching the kids.
Mm.
Did you remember the kids in
No, I
Equilibrium?
mean, well, what are you talking about?
Well, because he has the two children,
Yes.
and at the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
when he's been hiding all of his, you know, feelings, hiding drugs,
Right,
he
right,
goes
right,
to
right.
get them, and they're gone. And his son's like, "Here," and he's looking at him. He's like, "Don't worry, I haven't been taking it either."
Yeah.
And he's like, "For how long?" He's like, since mom had died like 2 years before.
Right,
So
right,
when you
right.
go back and watch them,
Mm-hmm.
you realize like, because it seems like the brother is being mean to the sister
Okay. Yeah,
because he
yeah.
doesn't have emotions, and what it is he's trying to hide it from his dad.
Okay.
Because the
Yeah.
dad, if he hid until that moment when he figures out his dad's not taking it, he's afraid that if the dad finds out they're not taking the drug, that the dad will
Yeah.
kill them too.
Right.
So every time he's a little stern with the sister, because she's there one time where he's like she's playing with her cereal, and he's like, "Don't."
Yeah.
And I'm like, when you
Yeah.
go back with the knowledge that neither one of them are taking it because he protected her, I'm just like, oh my gosh, new level.
Yeah. No,
So
I'm gonna rewatch the movie soon so I can pay attention to that.
yeah, it's really kind of one of those weird, like, wow, that
Yeah.
just a completely new view on that. So yeah, and you know what that movie does have?
What's
That
that?
movie is number one in the amount of deaths in the film.
I believe that.
And the thing that made me laugh is I was watching the commentary, and the director said, we were so afraid of an NC-17 rating because of how many
Yeah.
people died that there's no blood squibs. It's all
Yeah.
brown powder.
Yeah.
So if you go back and watch the movie, you're like, he's right. Like, unless he cuts somebody, nobody ever bleeds. It's
Yeah.
just
No, I
gray
noticed that. I
powder.
noticed that way back then. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't know the count, but yeah, I paid attention to that, and I was like, I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's like over 100.
Yeah.
He himself kills, let alone that get killed by other people. So it
Yeah.
was hilarious when I read that. I was like, yeah, it was like, because it was like that. And then like one of the Rambos and like Saving Private Ryan are really
Mm,
high up there, but it's just
yeah.
blows. It is like at least 50 above number two. It's because just that one scene alone when he's like going after the leader, he kills like
Yeah.
50 guys just going into that
Yeah.
one
Quickly.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you know what, that Equilibrium. Yes, that is such a good call. I do love that movie. All right, I think that you know what. No, we got to go to this one. Let's do. I like ending on this one. Name a character from cartoons, comics, uh, novels that has not been made into a movie that you would love to see in a film?
Uh, that hasn't been made into a film.
Or if the movie was so bad you want them to reboot it something good.
The
I mean,
Phantom.
whatever.
Since you said reboot, The Phantom. Quick,
The Phantom.
yeah.
It's got to be the Phantom. You know,
Right now.
the funniest thing is the other night we were trying to pick a movie to watch, and my daughter's like, "What's the Phantom?" I'm like,
Really?
really? So I start looking
Yeah.
it up, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're watching the Phantom." She's like, "No, I'm at the Phantom of the Opera." I'm like, "Oh, traitor."
All of that.
Yeah, but yeah, I that movie. It's not great, but that character is. I think you're right because he and the Shadow
Yeah.
seriously need reboots.
Yeah, they do.
Seriously need reboots. They just because I can't decide if I want the Shadow to be modern or like in the past, like a period
Yeah,
piece.
in that time.
But I
Yeah.
would love for the Shadow to come back. I love that character. I think he's a cool as hell. Alec
Yeah.
Baldwin was great. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think people forget that he was in a comic movie that he played the
Right.
Shadow. He's so good
Right.
in that. Anyway, dude, Billy Zane was so great though as the Phantom. Like I had no problem with him. It was the rest of the movie that was
Yeah, it was the rest of the movie,
yeah.
especially with Treat Williams. Treat Williams was over the top. And like he was outplaced. Like he wasn't supposed to be in that movie. Whatever character he was doing, that wasn't for what that movie was. That needed to be for Joel Schumacher's Batman, for a character that who he was playing. But I used to read the newspaper strip comics. Like I'm aging myself, but that's how far back. And then, with me already having a foundation, I'm gonna be honest. I would only read those comics at my grandmother's house. They didn't have cable yet, and the newspaper was there, right? And I would read the comic strip of that. I would read Garfield, and I would read the Phantom, and reading the Phantom, and I would tell my grandmother to collect the papers to next time I come, so I can read the entire adventure that was going through.
Yeah.
So at the time when they announced the movie and the movie was coming out, I was like, yo, the Phantom. So I was really young, right? So I'm like, yo, they finally making a live action movie. I read this guy. I know he goes back. I love it. And there was a lot of mystery, like detective work that he did, and fighting poachers and a lot of jungle stuff. It was great. But when the movie came out, even at the time, I thought it was a beautiful looking movie. But then I was like, honestly, I was like, the hell is this? And I'm like, I'm young. I'm still in the one digit age. Like, the hell is this movie? I was like, yo, this is all over the place. And I just feel like it needs a reboot with competent looking directors and an adventure. There's a lot that can be told in that movie, and that one needs. When you said reboot, immediately the Phantom.
Yeah, you were kind of like, and I was like, okay, what about a reboot of one that needs to be done right? Because there's a couple of them out there that really need to
Yeah.
be redone right. No, I think that's dude. Do you remember who one of the girls was in that movie?
Was it Jennifer Connelly?
No, a very young Catherine Zeta-Jones.
That's right. I knew it was a dark haired lady.
Yeah, very. Anyway, no, I think, dude, the Phantom that would be great. He's kind of like Black Panther. If you really think about like what they did in that movie with the whole passing the torch down with the ring and everything.
Right.
But
That'd be
no,
so cool to see.
dude, yeah, this is I I'm I think look, I do my best not to jump on the crotch of the MCU, but
Mm-hmm.
they've done it so well. Everybody just needs to stop. You,
Mm.
you're not going to catch them. You're not going to get it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
never.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
not going to do it. Let's go back to standalone films.
yeah.
Let's go back to Hellboy. Let's go back to The Shadow. Let's go back to these comic book movies that are just about a character and it's just about them saving a city or saving a street.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to come together. And I think that would be the Phantom is a perfect kind of like you can have a lot of fun. It can be an adventure. It's just that's cool. I love it. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for doing this 18 times. finally
You're welcome.
recorded.
Thank you for having me. Thank
I'm
you for
glad you
having
were
me.
able to come back. Do me a favor, real quick. I'm gonna come back on you. Plug your stuff. Tell me where you are, what they can do, how they can follow you.
All right. Well, currently I'm on YouTube at RJ the Nerdy Brew, where we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all with a cup of coffee. And we just talk nerdum over there, react to nerdum stuff, sometimes reviews if we get a chance. But you can find me at the Nerdy Brew with my co-host, my partner, Couch God. We're also there. And you can find me on Instagram, RJ Nerdy Brew 315. Other than that, I'm kind of private, but that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Perfect. And go to the group. You can interact with us. We're there.
We're there.
And thank you again, Ryan, for doing this. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening. And we will now go to the outro. I don't know why I'm dancing, bro. No one mentors like Ducard. No. Luke Evans singing as Ducard. Oh, gets me every time. I actually, when I had reviewed this episode and was doing some of the editing, I had completely forgot about that little tidbit. Anyway, thanks for listening to the episode. I did want to mention, and we'll probably put it in the post and everything like that, is that the unedited versions in video format for these episodes will be up on YouTube. It'll be under my personal channel. I will put links below. And if you guys want to see more of the conversation we had, I don't think with Ryan, I think we're pretty efficient with the conversation. I don't think I really cut anything out. But if it's cut out, it's on YouTube. You can check it out. Also, the recast, so much fun, especially with a movie you love and just want to try and make it better. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But what I'm dying to hear is what you guys think of the reboot, of the recasting, of the new format, the whole 9 yards. So please come to our Facebook group, www.facebook.com/fanboyjunctionpodcast. Come join us, talk, comment, have a good time. If you like this, please review, talk about it here on the YouTube channels. If you want to comment there, that's great. We love the interaction. We look forward to hearing from you. And thank you very much again for listening to this episode. Until next time, bye-bye.